So Andy, I figured it out. I had a moment to think. It's Anam Cara. John O'Donoghue, Irish spiritual writer. Anam Cara, Soul Friend. That's what we've read.
Yes.
You hadn't read the Servant Leadership book. Very sorry about that. Don't worry, my mistake. Never mind. All right, I admitted my mistake. Being honest.
Oh, there you go.
So it's no problem. All right. So looking forward, obviously for Enterprise, we were talking about you're potentially going to have a new space, and do you want to tell us a bit about kind of what your thinking is with that?
Well, it's just an idea at this stage. So again, I want to be honest and say that we're just batting the idea around, and we're talking to a few people about it first to see if the idea will fly. But basically, we're looking at possibility of a rental photography studio where people, both small businesses who just want to do a bit of social media, that's what they want to do, like we're doing an interview, or they just want to do a headshot, for the business card, or they want to do a promo video. They can come and turn up even with a smartphone, and there'll be nice backdrops and lighting.
The purpose-built space for that.
And some props and things.
Brilliant.
And if you're working in a busy, noisy office and there's not much facility to do it, all you've got is a very small office window. There's no natural
lighting and stuff.
That kind of stuff. It's just providing that kind of space that's affordable. That people can come and use.
So it's literally a one-stop shop in a physical version.
Yeah, literally, yeah, exactly. And social media's coming of age, and now it's almost an imperative to put video on your website.
Yeah.
And so
you want to do it well.
Kind of create the opportunity for people to come and do that and do it affordably.
Yeah.
But also give photographers and videographers the space to do it professionally as well. And so if businesses can afford that next level, there's that option as well.
Yeah, so like no matter kind of what you wanted it for, you could interact with it on that level. So you want to pop in, do a few quick headshots, fine. You want to sit down and do an interview, fine. If you want to actually set up a proper shot and all that, fine.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a gym or almost like a box where people can come in and make use of the space and equipment. And
yeah, exactly. And obviously we provide photography services and a bit of video as well, so it will be useful for us as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But it's not. I don't see it as a big money spinner, but an opportunity to connect with more businesses than we would otherwise.
People face to face, because like you say, social enterprises, community and people, and like you say, if you're just offering an online thing, that's fine. If you're trying to upscale, big profit, but you're about more than that. You're about the people, providing the service. So we've talked, about values, and it's, really thank you for that. It's been really interesting, because I think I was telling you, I was listening to an audiobook about the Dalai Lama, and he's talking about profit and compassion, and he's saying it can't just be about profit. And one of the things you wrote down, and it's true, Richard Branson, Virgin, they take care of the people, and that ability to think of other people is really, really important, I think, in business. And for people watching this, I think it's like something that's coming through, isn't it? It's just take the time to consider somebody else.
Yeah.
Just what you're doing, how it's impacting on somebody else. Yeah. So for people looking at and watching this who aren't social enterprises, they might be SMEs, they might be startups, might be big companies, or just people watching it. Have you got any kind of advice on real life things people can do to make sure that you do have an ethical base? You are doing what you say. It doesn't have to be like 10 things, but just a couple of things maybe you do to help guide you in what you do every day.
Well, the first thing I would say is carve some time out to actually write a code of ethics. And you'll be surprised what you come up with just by thinking it through.
So would you say, like, what do you mean? Do you mean like this is how we're going to treat people, or this is what we stand for, a bit of both, or just writing single words?
Yeah, everything from how do we communicate with our clients, what are our terms and conditions, do they know what our terms and conditions are, and will we offer refunds if we get things wrong, what kind of guarantee do we offer, through to how are you going to treat your staff. You mentioned Richard Branson. He said, we don't put our customers first, we put our staff first, because then our staff will put our customers first. If you treat your staff well, they will also instinctively treat the customers well.
Yes.
And so again, in your code of ethics, we expect our staff to take holidays. There was a story about that last week of how many business or how many workers don't actually take their holidays.
Yeah.
And there's this unwritten expected thing that you will work every hour.
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
it's
Martyrdom syndrome.
Yes.
The harder you're working, the better it must be for some reason.
Yes, and there is I've been in an environment as well, in an office where you're in a team and 3 of the guys are still working late to get a project finished, so you feel obliged to do the same, which isn't good for you or your family.
No.
And in some countries like Sweden, I think it's Sweden, that they've gone down to a 4-day week.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Because they value the family, and they've found that actually the output of work isn't any less. In fact, it's actually more because people aren't completely stressed out, going off sick and all the rest.
No, it's true. There's a bell curve. I've done studies into this. There's one study that says after 40 hours, your productivity is no better than someone who's doing 70 hours.
Yeah.
You will reach a natural thing, which is fine. You'll be in that really good zone, and it will tailor off. And as it's tailoring off, you can't just jump back up to there, like you say. So things that are coming through really important are honest communication, taking the time to think of others as well as yourself, taking the time to look after your people as well as yourself.
Yeah.
And would you say that, let's look at, imagine I can give you a magic wand, okay, and you've got that magic wand, and the business scene in England is now a certain way, or the social scene is a certain way. What would you love to see in an ideal world? What would you love to see built 5 years, 10 years? So for people watching this now that are children, when they're adults, what would you love to see in our country?
I think generosity is a key one. If a business is generous, you're going to go back and you're going to work with that business again. If you're tight-fisted and charge for every last little thing, they won't. And so, we know the companies that are generous and reward you for good customer, for bringing your customer back to them, that kind of thing. So generosity would be one thing. Is again, it's over-promise and under-deliver.
Yeah.
We've heard it said a lot, but it's a very
simple
principle.
Yeah.
But the opposite to that is often business. I've heard business leaders say, "Well, a customer should pay for what we do for them," but at the same time, behind that is a spirit of meanness. I think of actually, we want to make as much money out of it as possible.
Yeah.
And that's I mentioned Ryanair before, and I'm sorry to pick on them, but behind the small print are so many charges that people haven't realised. It comes across as mean and greedy, and not honest, because you're not being upfront about your charges. So that's one thing, is just be upfront with your clients about what you're going to charge. Simple thing. It's like prices plus VAT. We've seen it on the e-commerce sites all the time. Well, what am I actually going to pay? And and plus it's plus delivery as well. And so you think you're paying £30 and you end up paying 50 or 60 because you haven't taken into account all the costs.
So what you're saying is that doesn't need to happen.
It doesn't need to happen.
It can be fixed like that. It's just like, here's the cost, and that includes this and this, because they're going to find out eventually. They're going to get a calculator and go, I'm going to figure out 20% of this. So
and why would you want them to get to the checkout button and then be annoyed because they're being charged more? You'd much rather them go through a pleasant experience of knowing what they're going to pay and then click pay. It just makes sense.
So I think generosity is, it's very interesting you say that, because obviously for my business and where I'm at, just starting out, I think there is almost, you naturally go into default mode. You think, I've got to take, and if you flip it, and that's one of the reasons why I do these videos, just give, but giving without expectations, because there can be that element of, I've been generous, so what am I going to get from it?
The trading mentality,
and that, I think, it loses the whole point. Because the way I like to look at it, and I think that hopefully you'd agree, is, life's been generous to you anyway. We've got these bodies, we've got these lovely things. You don't ask for those, you don't buy these things, you just get given them. So actually, if you've got the eyes to see generosity and look for generosity and create generosity, it's everywhere. It's in nature, it's in everywhere. And I think the fact that you pick up on generosity is a really good one, because I've found for me, when I think generously, it reminds me that there is no kind of limits. There's abundance of money and time and customer. They're all out there. It's when you, like you say, when you're tight-fisted and you're mean and you think there's only this and we've got to squeeze that because that's not available. You almost kind of put the blinkers on.
Yeah.
You know, you create this lack of generosity almost by yourself.
And actually, it has the adverse effect of what businesses think it will have. Because if you're generous, clients will come back and you'll get more business. But if you're mean, they won't come back and you'll lose that business to competitors. So it has the opposite effect to what you think. If you think I'm just going to get every last pound of out of that customer in this transaction, you're going to lose out ultimately. So it doesn't actually work from a business sense point of view.
No, and it's good that you can say that. Looking at it in terms of society, and because with all the volunteer work you're doing and all the good work you're doing on the social side, again with the same question, what would you want to see in the future? What are you looking to build towards? What's your vision for young people and for this communication? What would you love to see out there?
That's a really big question.
It is, isn't it? I'm sorry. I think I'd like to know.
What's the dream? Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I've asked the same question when I've done some community research, because actually it frees you up. The problem is we always think in a narrow context of have I got the money, have I got the people, have I got the resources?
Yes. Which is like the second thing you should think of, not the first.
Yeah. And the reason for that is we don't have hope, and I think that's sad because Fusion's motto is bringing young people and the communities together with hope.
Nice.
And the reason that hope is the key value is if you're hopeless, if you haven't got any hope, anything else you try and do is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because if you're despairing, you look at the news all the time and you just think we'll never achieve anything. You won't.
You won't. Yeah.
So being hopeful and looking for the best in others and seeking to bring out the best in others, if people strove for that, we'd achieve so much more. But people are immersed in a world of negativity, of critical thinking, of we're in a recession, or unemployment's high, or
very true.
I was unemployed for 6 months once, and someone said to me, "You only need one job." And it's surprising what effect that had on me, because you can think, oh, it's hopeless, or,
where's my direction?
All the IT guys are going to the wall because the bubble has burst and all this stuff, and I'll never get a job. But
and this person says, actually, you just need this.
You just need one
job.
It's
a small thing.
And that sounds silly, but actually it changed my thinking around from being hopeless to hopeful.
Yeah.
And so that would be one thing, I think, if we could all be a bit more hopeful about the world and encourage one another to play a part in making a difference, the collective power of that is huge.
Yeah, it is.
And in business, it can feel despairing at times if you're the bottom line and no new business is coming in, and and you're working long hours and you're not seeing the fruit of your labours, you can easily reach a despairing place. And I think it's 3 out of 5 businesses fail in the first 5 years, which is really sad.
And it may be not because of the skills, the opportunities. They lose hope. They lose the ability to keep going.
Yeah, and you might be 1 hour from your breakthrough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And you don't know that.
Potential client could pick up the phone and offer you a big deal, but you've given up.
Yeah.
And you've lost that chance, and so there's always hope. There's always possibility that if you're in a difficult place, that you can turn a corner.
You can.
But again, even in business, it's good to be in. I'm a consulting practitioner for the business clinic, and I provide support to businesses on web and IT stuff through the business clinic, and it's a different model to networking in that we sit around a table and we'll provide support different businesses who've got challenges in their business, and they'll be open and frank about the issues they're facing, and it's brilliant because it just gives the opportunity for a business that's struggling with something to get some sound advice from others who've been there, and just knowing the fact that you're not alone, that others have been there is helpful in itself. And it can spur you on to keep going and maybe take the good advice, or or at least look at the different options and find a way forward.
So that's just one example of a practical way where in business they're using generosity of time, hope that it's going to get better, and good communication.
Yeah.
And you're saying is the benefit of that is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take much effort. It's just a little organised piece of effort.
And rather than seeing businesses as your competitors, other businesses as your competitors, I don't look at it like that. I think competition is healthy, and actually I've had some great conversations with other businesses that are in web development, and they've provided some really helpful advice to me over the years, and hopefully vice versa occasionally. And the people that I work with is through relationship, and it's the same for them, and so there's no need to feel this strong protectiveness around your business. But again, if you're open-hearted and seek to work with others, often you can provide that caring network of support for one another when times are tough, and there always will be tough times in business. It's always going to be, even just Christmas and summer, August and December can be tough months for most businesses. So how do you help each other along in that period and that kind of stuff?
And like you say, there's no reason why you can't talk about it. I heard a really good one was when you're at a stadium with a bunch of other people, you don't compete for air. You don't say there's only so much air in this room and you're taking up my bit, because we just know it's not a big deal because there's enough. And if people kind of were a bit more relaxed about that, like you say, they'd be open to, what are you doing? Oh, we're doing this. How's that working for you? I've changed it. I'll show you this person and they've helped you. And because like I say, you might be a competitor in one way. Say you might both web design people, but I don't know, you might have a shared love of music, or there'll be a connection somewhere, and it's like you say, being open to that rather than just going, no, can't talk to that person, or that's that. So I want to say, Andy, thank you so much. It's been so interesting because the ethical side of things to me is very important, and I can see it is to you. And I think for people watching this, hopefully what they got from it is understanding that the people that you are your business, whether you realise it or not. The skills and the design are important. But it's the practices, it's the ethics, it's the values, it's the people you are come through in your business, whether you realise it or not. And I just want to say all the best for the future.
Thank you.
And hopefully we could do another one of these where we're in your little bespoke space in the pop-up shop.
Nice.
I hope it's going to hopefully happen.
That would be awesome.
See what I did there. All right, thanks very much, Andy.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everybody, for watching. Have a good day. See you later.